When people search for affordable places to buy a house in America, they usually get the same recycled list. Boise, Spokane, maybe Nashville if the algorithm is feeling creative. Knoxville if you're lucky. But here's the problem: those cities aren't affordable anymore. Everyone already found them, moved there, and drove the prices through the roof. The median home in Boise that cost $310,000 3 years ago. Try $525,000 now. That's not affordable. That's just expensive with better marketing. But those are the obvious choices, and obvious choices come with obvious problems. Traffic that feels like you never left California. Bidding wars on houses that need new roofs. And the slow, creeping realization that you moved somewhere affordable that now costs the same as the place you left. Just with worse tacos. But there's another America. An America where $180,000 still buys you a 3-bedroom house with a yard and a garage, not just a down payment. Where affordable means you can actually afford it on a normal salary. Not finance it for 30 years and pray nothing breaks. These are the cities where smart buyers are moving quietly, strategically, and successfully. While everyone else is stuck refreshing Zillow in markets they'll never be able to buy in. Today we're counting down 10 of the most affordable US cities that nobody talks about. No Denver, no Austin, no Portland suburbs where a townhouse costs $500,000. Just the cities where regular people with regular budgets are buying real houses right now. And by the end of this video, you'll have the exact data that most people spend thousands on real estate agents to find. Let's get into it. Number 10. Fort Wayne, Indiana. Fort Wayne is a city of about 268,000 people in Allen County in northeast Indiana, sitting along Interstate 69 about 120 miles north of Indianapolis. And 150 miles from Chicago. The median home price is around $179,000, and the strategy here is simple: get everything a mid-sized American city offers, without paying mid-sized American city prices. Fort Wayne is far enough from Indianapolis and Chicago to have its own identity. It has a revitalized downtown with local breweries and restaurants that aren't chains. The historic Embassy Theater, built in 1928, hosts live performances year-round. Fort Wayne Children's Zoo is ranked among the top zoos in the nation. And the city has 3 rivers converging right through town, the St. Mary's, St. Joseph, and Maumee, which created the River Greenway, a 25-mile trail system that runs along the water. For buyers who want access to outdoor space without living in the middle of nowhere, that infrastructure already exists. But it's close enough that Indianapolis is 2 hours south when you need a major airport or specialized medical care. Chicago is 2.5 hours northwest. You're not isolated. You're just not paying for proximity you don't use every day. The cost of living in Fort Wayne is roughly 18% below the national average. A 3-bedroom home with a yard, a 2-car garage, and 1,600 square feet. That would cost $425,000 in a Denver suburb costs $179,000 here. That's not rounding. That's not best case scenario. That's the median. The property taxes in Indiana are manageable, utilities run lower than most coastal states. And your mortgage payment leaves actual money in your account at the end of the month instead of just equity on a spreadsheet. Fort Wayne has 2 major health systems, Lutheran Health Network and Parkview Health. Both operate multiple facilities across the city. For everyday healthcare, specialists, and emergency services, you're covered locally. Indianapolis hospital systems are 2 hours away for anything beyond that. The economy is stable. Major employers include the 2 health networks, General Motors, and defense contractor BAE Systems. The unemployment rate sits below the national average. This isn't a boom town that's going to triple in value overnight. It's a city with jobs, infrastructure, and home prices that haven't been destroyed by people flooding in from California. Fort Wayne is the city that buyers discover when they realize that living 2 hours from a major metro saves them $250,000 and eliminates the part of their life they used to spend sitting in traffic. That's not a compromise. That's a strategy. Number 9. Toledo, Ohio. Toledo is a city of about 270,000 people in Lucas County in northwest Ohio, sitting on the western shore of Lake Erie about 60 miles south of Detroit and 115 miles north of Columbus. The median home price is around $140,000. And if that number sounds too low to be real, that's because most affordable housing lists skip Toledo entirely. They assume Rust Belt means declining. And declining means don't bother. They're wrong. Toledo has everything a lakefront city should have without the lakefront price tag that usually comes with it. The Maumee River runs through downtown and empties into Lake Erie, giving the city miles of waterfront access. Maumee Bay State Park sits just east of the city with beaches, hiking trails, and a golf course that overlooks the lake. For buyers who thought waterfront living required a second mortgage or a move to Florida, Toledo delivers great lakes access at a price point that leaves money for actually enjoying it. The downtown has been quietly revitalizing for the past decade. The Hensville district, built around Fifth Third Field where the Toledo Mud Hens play minor league baseball, turned into a dining and entertainment hub that locals actually use. The Toledo Museum of Art is legitimately world-class, with a collection that includes works by Rembrandt, Monet, and Picasso. Free admission. Not free with membership. Just free. The art museum alone makes Toledo feel like a city that planned for culture, not just industry. The cost of living in Toledo is roughly 25% below the national average. That's not a small difference. That's the difference between retiring at 65 and retiring at 60. A 3-bedroom home with a basement, a driveway, and access to a city with actual infrastructure costs $140,000. That same home in a comparable lakefront city like Milwaukee or Grand Rapids costs $320,000. The math isn't complicated. It just doesn't get advertised because Toledo doesn't have a marketing budget like Austin. ProMedica and Mercy Health operate multiple hospital systems across Toledo and the surrounding region. The University of Toledo Medical Center provides Level 1 trauma care and specialized services. For a city of 270,000, the healthcare infrastructure is unusually deep. Detroit and Cleveland Hospital systems are within 90 minutes for anything beyond local capacity, but most buyers won't need them. The economy is more diverse than people assume. ProMedica is the largest employer. Dana Incorporated, an auto parts manufacturer, has its headquarters here. The Port of Toledo handles shipping across the Great Lakes and up the St. Lawrence Seaway. The University of Toledo brings 20,000 students and the economic activity that comes with a mid-sized state university. Toledo isn't booming. But it's working, it's stable, and the people who live here aren't competing with tech workers from San Francisco for the last house in their price range. Toledo is the Great Lakes city that nobody talks about because Rust Belt carries a stigma that the actual data doesn't support anymore. The lake is real. The museums are real. The cost of living is real. And the $140,000 median home price means you can buy a house in a city with infrastructure, jobs, and waterfront access for what most people are spending on a used pickup truck. Number 8. Wheeling, West Virginia. Wheeling is a city of about 27,000 people in Ohio County in the northern panhandle of West Virginia, sitting along the Ohio River about 60 miles southwest of Pittsburgh. The median home price is around $130,000, and for remote workers who can live anywhere, Wheeling is the arbitrage opportunity. that nobody is talking about yet. The city sits in one of the most geographically strategic locations in Appalachia. Pittsburgh is an hour north. Columbus is an hour and a half west. You're equidistant from 3 states, West Virginia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Which means access to everything those metros offer without living in any of them. For someone working remotely for a company based in a high-cost city, Wheeling lets you keep the salary and lose the rent. Downtown Wheeling runs along the riverfront with Victorian-era architecture that's been preserved, not demolished. Center Market, built in 1853, still operates as a public market with local vendors, restaurants, and specialty shops. The Capitol Theater, a restored 1920s movie palace, hosts concerts and live performances. Wheeling heritage trails wind along the river and connect to Wheeling Island, which has a hotel, casino, and greyhound racing track for the kind of entertainment that keeps a small city from feeling isolated. The cost of living in Wheeling is roughly 30% below the national average. That's not a typo. 30%. A 3-bedroom home with original hardwood floors, high ceilings, and a front porch that would cost $450,000. In a gentrifying Pittsburgh neighborhood costs $130,000 in Wheeling. The property taxes in West Virginia are among the lowest in the country. Your grocery bill drops. Your utility costs drop. And your housing payment becomes the smallest fixed expense in your budget instead of the one that determines everything else. Wheeling Hospital and Reynolds Memorial Hospital provide local health care. UPMC and Allegheny Health Network facilities in Pittsburgh are an hour away for specialized care. For a city of 27,000, the medical access punches above its weight class because of the proximity to Pittsburgh's hospital systems. The economy is smaller than Fort Wayne or Toledo, but it's stabilizing. The tourism industry has grown as people rediscover the northern panhandle. Remote work has brought in buyers who don't need local employment. WesBanco, a regional bank, is headquartered here. The cost of living is so low that a modest income supports a lifestyle that would require 6 figures in most metro areas. Wheeling is the city that remote workers find when they realize that geography is optional and paying $2,200 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment in Denver is a choice, not a requirement. The Ohio River is real. The Victorian architecture is real. And the $130,000 median home price means you can own a house outright in 5 years on a salary that barely covers rent in most American cities. Number 7. Springfield, Missouri. Springfield is a city of about 169,000 people in Greene County in southwest Missouri, sitting at the northern edge of the Ozark Mountains about 215 miles southwest of Kansas City and 170 miles northeast of Tulsa. The median home price is around $200,000, and Springfield is the city that figured out how to keep college town energy without college town housing costs. Missouri State University brings 23,000 students to Springfield, and with them comes the infrastructure that college towns develop when they're done right. Coffee shops that aren't Starbucks. Restaurants that take risks. Breweries. Live music venues, and a cultural scene that doesn't shut down when the semester ends. But unlike college towns that became unaffordable, Boulder, Austin, Chapel Hill, Springfield stayed accessible because it never became a destination for people fleeing expensive metros. That's changing, but slowly, and the people moving in now are getting the last window before everyone else figures it out. The Ozark Mountains define the landscape. Hiking, kayaking, fishing, and cave exploration are weekend activities, not vacation plans. Table Rock Lake sits 45 minutes south and offers 800 miles of shoreline. Branson, with its theater district and entertainment complex, is 40 minutes away for when you want live shows without flying to Vegas. For buyers who define quality of life as time Spent outdoors, Springfield delivers mountain access at plains pricing. The cost of living in Springfield is roughly 15% below the national average. A 3-bedroom home with a yard, garage, and updated kitchen that would cost $385,000 in a comparable college town like Fort Collins costs $200,000 in Springfield. The property taxes are reasonable. Utilities are manageable. And the restaurant and entertainment options that usually only exist in cities twice this size are here because the university built the demand. Cox Health and Mercy Hospital Springfield operate large medical complexes with specialty services that most cities under 200,000 don't have. Both systems have Level 2 trauma centers for routine care, specialists, and emergency services. Springfield has the infrastructure of a much larger city. Kansas City and Tulsa are within reach for anything beyond local capacity, but most people never need to leave. The economy is anchored by healthcare, education, and regional distribution. Bass Pro Shops is headquartered in Springfield and operates a massive flagship store that draws tourists from across the Midwest. The unemployment rate runs consistently below the national average. Springfield isn't trying to be the next Austin. It's just doing what it's been doing for decades, providing a stable, affordable, livable city for people who don't need their town to trend on social media. Springfield is the Ozark gateway city that buyers find when they realize that mountain access, college town culture, and a $200,000 median home price shouldn't exist in the same place, but they do. And the people who've been living here already know it. If you're still watching and haven't subscribed yet, here's what you need to understand. The algorithm rewards channels that people actually engage with. Which means the more people who subscribe, like, and comment, the more YouTube pushes this video to people who are searching for exactly this information. And the more people who find it early, the less competition you have when you show up in these cities looking at houses. So here's the deal. Hit the subscribe button because I'm covering housing markets across America every single week, and the data you're watching right now is the same data that real estate investors pay thousands of dollars to access. You're getting it for free. The like button tells YouTube that this video is worth showing to more people. And if you know someone who's been complaining about housing prices, about not being able to afford a home, or about feeling stuck in an expensive city they hate, send them this video. That's not me asking for a favor. That's me telling you how to actually help someone. And drop a comment. Tell me which city on this list surprised you the most. Tell me if you've lived in one of these places. Tell me if I missed a city that nobody talks about. The comments section is where the real information lives. Because people who actually move to these towns show up and tell you what I can't fit into a 15-minute video. The top 6 cities on this list include a college town that feels like Austin used to feel, a village of 2,500 people that has 14 art galleries and a creek running through downtown, and the number 1 spot is a hill country town with German heritage, Texas wine, and a granite mountain you can climb in the afternoon. And houses cost less than a down payment in most cities people think are affordable. Let's get back to it. Number 6. South Bend, Indiana. South Bend is a city of about 103,000 people in St. Joseph County in north-central Indiana, sitting along the St. Joseph River about 90 miles east of Chicago. The median home price is around $175,000, and the reason South Bend belongs on this list is a reason most affordable housing guides won't mention: institutional stability. The University of Notre Dame sits just north of the city in the town of Notre Dame, Indiana. The university employs 6,000 people, has an endowment larger than the GDP of some countries, and isn't going anywhere. That kind of institutional weight creates an economic foundation that most small cities don't have. Faculty need housing. Employees need services. Students need restaurants and entertainment. And the cultural infrastructure that comes with a top-tier private university. The Performing Arts Center, the museums, the lecture series, the sports culture. Exists whether you're affiliated with the university or not. Downtown South Bend has experienced a genuine revitalization over the past decade. The East Bank neighborhood transformed into a mixed-use district with apartments, breweries, restaurants, and green space along the river. The Morris Performing Arts Center, a restored 1920s theater, hosts Broadway tours, concerts, and comedy shows. The Studebaker National Museum tells the story of the car company that once made South Bend a manufacturing powerhouse, and the building itself is a piece of industrial architecture worth seeing. For a city of 103,000, the cultural options feel disproportionately deep. The cost of living in South Bend is roughly 20% below the national average. A 3-bedroom home with a finished basement, a 2-car garage, and proximity to both downtown and the university costs $175,000. That same setup in a comparable college town like Ann Arbor costs $450,000. The property taxes are reasonable. The utility costs are manageable. And the proximity to Notre Dame means the city infrastructure, roads, schools, public services, gets maintained at a level that benefits everyone. Memorial Hospital, Beacon Health System, and St. Joseph Health System operate facilities across South Bend and the surrounding region. For a city this size, the healthcare network is comprehensive. Chicago's major hospital systems are 90 minutes west for specialized care, but the local infrastructure handles most needs without requiring a 2-hour drive. The economy is transitioning. Manufacturing defined South Bend for a century, and when Studebaker closed, the city struggled. But the past 15 years have brought tech startups, data centers, and a renewed focus on small business development. Notre Dame anchors everything. The unemployment rate has stabilized. South Bend isn't trying to be the next Silicon Valley. It's building a sustainable economy around education, healthcare, and regional services. South Bend is the Indiana college town that nobody talks about because everyone assumes Notre Dame makes it expensive. It doesn't. The university makes it stable. And stable beats trendy when you're looking for a place to actually live instead of speculate. Number 5. Wichita Falls, Texas. Wichita Falls is a city of about 102,000 people in Wichita County in North Texas. Sitting along Highway 287 about 115 miles northwest of Fort Worth and 15 miles south of the Oklahoma border. The median home price is around $180,000, and Wichita Falls is the Texas city that delivers small-town affordability with mid-sized city infrastructure. Shepherd Air Force Base sits just north of the city and is the largest training base for pilots in the United States Air Force and NATO. The base employs over 10,000 people and brings a level of economic stability and federal investment that most cities this size don't have. That military presence also means the city infrastructure, roads, hospitals, schools, operates at a standard built for a larger population. For civilians looking for affordable housing in a city that functions well, that base is an asset even if you never set foot on it. Downtown Wichita Falls has a compact but functional core. The Wichita Falls Farmers Market runs year-round. The Kemp Center for the Arts hosts galleries, classes, and performances in a restored 1920s mansion. Lake Wichita and Lake Arrowhead provide fishing, boating, and waterfront parks within city limits. The Wichita Falls Multipurpose Event Center brings concerts, rodeos, and sporting events to the area. It's not Austin. It's not trying to be. It's a city that built what it needed and maintained it. The cost of living in Wichita Falls is roughly 18% below the national average. A 3-bedroom home with a yard, garage, and updated interior that would cost $420,000 in a Fort Worth suburb costs $180,000 here. Texas has no state income tax, which means your take-home pay stretches further. The property taxes are real because this is still Texas, but they're applied to a home that costs half what you'd pay 90 minutes south. The math works. United Regional Healthcare System operates the largest hospital in the region, with over 280 beds and a Level 2 trauma center. North Texas State Hospital provides psychiatric services for routine care, emergency services, and most specialties. Wichita Falls has you covered. Fort Worth's major hospital systems are 2 hours south for anything beyond local capacity. The economy is driven by the Air Force Base, healthcare, and education. Midwestern State University brings 6,000 students to the city and the jobs that come with running a state university. The unemployment rate consistently runs below the state average. Wichita Falls isn't growing fast, but it's not shrinking either. It's stable, functional, and priced for people who need a place to live, not investors looking for the next hot market. Wichita Falls is the North Texas city that buyers discover when they realize that living 2 hours from Fort Worth saves them $240,000 and eliminates the traffic, the bidding wars, and the stress of competing with everyone fleeing California. That's not settling. That's strategy. Number 4. Greensburg, Pennsylvania. Greensburg is a city of about 14,000 people in Westmoreland County in southwestern Pennsylvania, sitting along Highway 30 about 35 miles east of Pittsburgh. The median home price is around $140,000, and Greensburg is the commuter secret that Pittsburgh workers discovered when they got tired of paying Pittsburgh prices. The city sits close enough to Pittsburgh that the commute to downtown is 40 minutes on the turnpike, but far enough that the housing market operates in a completely different economy. A 3-bedroom home with a yard and a garage that costs $380,000 in a Pittsburgh suburb costs $140,000 in Greensburg. You're trading 20 minutes of drive time for $240,000 in savings. For remote workers or people who only commute a few days a week, that math is impossible to ignore. Downtown Greensburg has the bones of a city that planned for more people than it currently has, which means the infrastructure is there without the crowds. The Palace Theater, built in 1926, still operates as a performing arts venue. Westmoreland Museum of American Art holds a collection that focuses on southwestern Pennsylvania artists and 18th-century American paintings. The cost of living is roughly 22% below the national average. Exela Health operates the main hospital system with multiple facilities across Westmoreland County. UPMC and Allegheny Health Network facilities in Pittsburgh are 40 minutes away. The economy is anchored by healthcare, education, and regional retail. Unemployment runs close to the state average. Greensburg is the Pittsburgh suburb that nobody mentions because it's technically not a suburb. It's a separate city that happens to sit 35 miles from a major metro, and the people who figured that out are paying $140,000 for houses while everyone else fights over $400,000 listings closer to the city. Number 3. Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Cedar Rapids is a city of about 137,000 people in Lynn County in eastern Iowa, sitting along the Cedar River about 130 miles east of Des Moines and 230 miles west of Chicago. The median home price is around $215,000, and Cedar Rapids is the Midwest city with an economy that actually works. The unemployment rate in Cedar Rapids consistently runs below both the state and national averages, and that's not an accident. Rockwell Collins, now part of Collins Aerospace, employs thousands in aerospace and defense manufacturing. General Mills, Quaker Oats, and Cargill operate major facilities here. The economy isn't dependent on one industry or one employer. It's diversified in a way that keeps the city stable when other places struggle. The Cedar River runs through downtown, and the city rebuilt the riverfront after catastrophic flooding in 2008. That rebuilding brought updated infrastructure, parks, and trails that make the downtown area feel newer than most Midwest cities this size. The National Czech and Slovak Museum tells the story of the immigrant communities that built Cedar Rapids. Nubo City Market operates as a year-round public market with local vendors, food, and weekend events. The cost of living is roughly 10% below the national average. A 3-bedroom home with a basement and garage costs $215,000. That's affordable without being cheap, which means the city attracts people who have options, not just people who are priced out everywhere else. Mercy Medical Center and Unity Point Health operate hospital systems with specialty care across Cedar Rapids. The University of Iowa hospitals are 90 minutes south in Iowa City for tertiary care. Cedar Rapids is the Iowa city where the jobs are real, the housing is affordable, and the people who live here aren't waiting for permission from a coastal magazine to call it a good place to live. Number 2. Huntington, West Virginia. Huntington is a city of about 46,000 people in Cabell County in western West Virginia, sitting along the Ohio River at the border of West Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio. The median home price is around $155,000, and Huntington is the college town that combines Appalachian affordability with the energy that a state university brings. Marshall University enrolls 13,000 students and anchors the city's economy, culture, and identity. The university brings faculty, staff, research funding, and the infrastructure that keeps a small city from feeling isolated. Football. Saturdays at Joan C. Edwards Stadium bring 30,000 people to downtown Huntington. The students fill the coffee shops, restaurants, and bars along 4th Avenue. For buyers who want college town energy without college town housing costs, Huntington delivers at a price point that feels like a different decade. The cost of living in Huntington is roughly 23% below the national average. A 3-bedroom home with original hardwood, high ceilings, and a front porch costs $155,000. That same house in a comparable college town like Charlottesville or Athens, Georgia, costs $400,000 or more. West Virginia's property taxes are low. Your mortgage payment becomes background noise in your budget instead of the number that controls your entire financial life. Cabell Huntington Hospital and St. Mary's Medical Center provide local healthcare. Marshall Health operates clinics across the region. The University Medical School ensures the local healthcare infrastructure is stronger than most cities this size. The economy centers on education, healthcare, and regional services. The tri-state location gives Huntington access to Kentucky and Ohio job markets without requiring you to live there. Huntington is the West Virginia college town where the river is real, the football culture is real, and the $155,000 median home price means you can afford to actually enjoy the college town experience instead of just surviving it. Number 1. Evansville, Indiana. Evansville is a city of about 118,000 people in Vanderburgh County in southwestern Indiana, sitting on a bend in the Ohio River at the corner of Indiana, Kentucky, and Illinois. The median home price is around $175,000. And Evansville is the river city that has everything in affordable housing. Buyer could want and one thing most affordable cities don't offer: options. Evansville sits at the intersection of 3 states, which means job markets, healthcare systems, and metro access from 3 different directions. Nashville is 3 hours south. St. Louis is 2.5 hours west. Indianapolis is 3 hours north. Louisville is 2 hours east. You're not in the middle of nowhere. You're in the middle of access. The University of Evansville and the University of Southern Indiana bring 15,000 students and the cultural infrastructure that comes with higher education. The riverfront has been redeveloped with walking paths, parks, and event spaces. The Ford Center downtown hosts concerts, hockey games, and conventions. Mesker Park Zoo, one of the oldest in the country, sits on 70 acres of rolling hills. For a city of 118,000, the amenities feel disproportionately deep. The cost of living is roughly 19% below the national average. A 3-bedroom home with a basement, garage, and updated kitchen costs $175,000. Property taxes are reasonable. The economy is driven by healthcare, education, manufacturing, and regional distribution. Major employers include Deaconess Health System, Berry Global, and Amazon's Regional Fulfillment Center. Deaconess and Ascension St. Vincent operate large hospital systems with specialty care and level 2 trauma centers. The tri-state location means Louisville, Nashville, and Indianapolis hospital systems are all within 3 hours for tertiary care. Evansville is the Indiana river city that nobody talks about nationally, because the Midwest doesn't generate headlines. But the river is real, the jobs are real, the universities are real, and the $175,000 median home price is real. And the people who moved here while everyone else was arguing about whether they could afford a condo in Nashville are the ones who actually won. Those are 10 of the most affordable U.S. cities that nobody talks about. From the Great Lakes to the Ozarks, from the Ohio River to North Texas. From $130,000 in Wheeling to $215,000 in Cedar Rapids. These are the cities where smart buyers went while everyone else was stuck refreshing Zillow and markets they'll never be able to afford. The median prices, the hospital systems, the distances to major metros. The cost of living percentages, that's research that real estate agents charge thousands of dollars to provide. You just got it free. Subscribe because I'm covering affordable housing markets across America every single week. Not the cities everyone already knows about. The cities where regular people are actually buying houses right now. Drop a comment and tell me which city on this list surprised you the most. Tell me if you've lived in any of these places. Or tell me what affordable city I missed that nobody's talking about yet. And if you know someone who's been struggling with housing prices, who feels stuck, who thinks they can't afford to buy, send them this video. You're not helping me. You're helping them. See you in the next video.